Here's your host, Chelsea Edwards.
Welcome to another episode of Chattin With Chelsea. I'm your daytime bestie, Chelsea Edwards. What happens when the people who need help the most don't know where to turn? Well, today's show is about showing up for our teens and young adults in their most vulnerable moments. We'll hear the story of a young woman who experienced homelessness after being the victim of a crime and how the right support helped her get back on her feet. But first, we are joined by a woman on a mission to prevent teen dating violence, sharing her story and offering guidance to help young people recognize healthy, safe relationships. Welcome to the show, Martine Demolier. Demolier.
You said it right the first time.
I said it right. Okay, all right. There we go.
Martine D is fine. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here, Chelsea.
Yeah, so I love this mission, something that we may not really think about a whole lot if we don't have teens in our lives, but teen dating violence. Tell me about the organization that you try to make change through.
Absolutely. So it's called Going Out Divine, like you mentioned. And what we do is we raise awareness, we educate, and also we focus on teen prevention, which is a big problem right now. 1 in 3 teens will have experienced some type of physical violence before they turn 18. Wow. And that is our mission. We want to make sure that we talk to our teens about what is healthy relationship, what does that look like, what are some of the red flags to look out for, what are some boundaries to be aware of.
And this all stems from your own personal experience.
Yes.
How old were you when you experienced violence?
So at 17 years old, I ended up in a very abusive relationship, and I wasn't aware of the signs. You know, at that age, we're just trying to navigate what a relationship looks like, just trying to be like everyone else. And to go back even further, when I was younger, I was exposed to domestic violence, whether it was in my neighborhood, at school, or in my home. It was just all around me.
So it kind of normalized it for you because you were already seeing this all the time.
And when you're a child, you don't realize how much of an impact, you know, seeing something like that would have on you. It actually affected how I viewed relationships, how I viewed myself, how I viewed conflict, and how I handled conflict. And it was just nothing that was ever addressed. It was never talked about. It was kind of just swept under the rug.
What was the first sign for you when you were dating, back when you were 17, that this was an unhealthy relationship, even if you didn't recognize that sign at the time?
So going back and thinking through it, I would say the control aspect, right? Just controlling who I would hang out with, wanting to see who's calling me on my phone, wanting to spend all of his time with me. Those were some of the signs that I wasn't aware of then, but in hindsight, I know that's what it was now. Like it's presented as if, you know, he cared, right?
Okay.
But it's really control.
So was he talking down on your friends, alienating you in that way, or your family?
There was definitely some isolation there, and made me feel like my friends were just jealous of our relationship and they just wanted to be with him, and that they weren't really true friends, and they weren't people that I could actually trust, even though they were friends for many years prior to him. And so that manipulation, you know, was a big factor. The lies and gaslighting definitely played a part.
What were your friends and family saying? Did they see any of this for themselves?
So unfortunately, my family was not aware. I hid it very well, very well. And they weren't aware of the signs to look out for either. And friends knew that something was off, but they weren't quite sure. And they were also caught up and involved in their own relationships and focused on their own lives. So no one was really aware of what was happening behind the scenes.
At what point did it become physical?
Well, I remember one day very vividly, I was home at my parents' apartment and he came over after school and we got into a very heated argument. And I can't even remember what that argument was about, but I do remember he smacked me across my face, and I remember holding my face for a few seconds just in disbelief. I couldn't believe that he actually did that. And so he paused too, and I think he was shocked about what he had just done. And so I just said, you know, you have to get out. I can't believe you just did that. Knowing my history, because we talked about that a lot, and knowing that that's not something that I would ever want to deal with. So that was the first time that he actually put his hands on me, and it wasn't the last.
Wow. All right. Well, I know we've got more to share of your story and some tips to prevent this from happening to other teens. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after this. If we want to protect our teens, we have to start with understanding what they're facing, even if it is domestic violence. Martina's been here sharing her story. So you were actually with the guy who had physically assaulted you at this point for a while.
Yeah, it was for 5 years or so. And I ended up graduating high school, went away to college. After my first semester of college, I ended up getting pregnant and had to come back home.
Wow.
And when I came back home, things just spiraled from there, just got worse. And I was still hiding it from family members, still dealing with the abuse, the physical abuse intensified. And I just believed that he would change.
At what point did you say, I'm out?
Yeah.
I've had enough?
So I was working at a bank as a bank teller, and my colleague used to read a lot of religious books. And one of the books that she had at her station one day was a book by Pastor Joel Osteen. It was his first book called Living Your Best Life Now. And she said, here, go get yourself a copy. I have $15 on this Barnes & Noble's gift card. Little did she know that I could not even afford to purchase a book. I was living from paycheck to paycheck at the time because I was being financially abused as well.
Wow.
And so I went and purchased myself a copy. I finished it within 48 hours. And that book unlocked something inside of me, literally. It made me change my perspective on life, on my self-worth. It made me see that I was valuable and that there was more to life than just this. And I had $40 left to my name for the week until my next paycheck. I took that $40 and changed the locks on my door and packed all his belongings and put it on the porch. I went to my parents' house and stayed there for a few hours because I knew if I stayed there with my son, he would try to attack me.
Yeah.
And so when I came back, there was a dent on the door, but at that point I knew that it was done, right? I still would have to deal with the post-abuse situation because we had a child together for many years, until my son was about 18 actually.
Well, bravo to you for stepping out. I really just wanted to clap while you were telling the end of that story. You want to help parents have conversations with their teens about avoiding these situations, what to look out for. What is a red flag that you want to make these parents aware of?
Absolutely. So definitely have conversations with your children. Number one, be aware of some of the changes. They might be angry sometimes. They are, distancing themselves. They no longer want to spend quality time with you, or they're very private with their cell phones and they don't want you to see anything, or they're spending too much time with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, because the abuse can come from both directions. It's not just, young boys. Yeah. It could be young girls as well that can be controlling. So pay attention to those signs, as well as are they no longer hanging out with their friends, right? So pay attention to these red flags that could possibly be occurring.
Now, some of these red flags sound similar to what parents need to be on the lookout for when it comes to drugs or alcohol abuse.
Yep.
What would you say is the distinction? You did mention spending a lot of time with this other person. Are there other things they can kind of hone in on? Anxiety, depression,
or they're just very irritable, right? Okay. And unfortunately, yes, some of these signs are very similar to some of these other issues that we are facing in this world today. But again, I think it starts with having conversations with your children and allowing them to spend time with you and giving them that space to talk through things, and just being a friend to them, most importantly, and having an open ear, because you'll be surprised what they'll share at that very moment.
How do you recommend starting that conversation, which can be very hard for parents, especially if the teen is already, being abrasive, being distant? How would you say to set the tone for them to open up?
Yeah, so I would say it could be as simple as, hey, today I learned about teen dating violence. Do you know anyone who's facing this issue at school right now? These are some of the signs that I learned about. And I just want to make sure that you're safe. And I want you to know that this is a safe space for you. And you could come talk to me about anything you want to talk to me.
Absolutely. Now you are going around spreading these messages. You also have a new initiative that you're doing.
Yes.
As well.
We just launched our teen girls program called In Her League. We launched in February during Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. And this program, we want to raise awareness on what does a healthy relationship look like, right? Because unfortunately, we don't always have the best examples. But we also want to give them leadership skills and tools that they need to be successful for their futures. We want them to have strong futures. So they'll take courses for financial literacy, career development, professional development, as well as different leadership tools that they need to have strong futures.
I love that. So needed. How can people find out more?
Yeah, so you can go to goingoutdivine.org. You could also shoot us an email at info@goingoutdivine.org or follow us on socials, Going Out Divine.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you so
sharing
much.
this story.
I appreciate
We have to
you.
take a commercial break. You ready to go out divine, do a little dancing?
Ready.
Okay. I mean, it was some heavy stuff. It was some good stuff. Thank
We're
you
gonna
so
dance it
much.
out.
You guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
I've got the feeling. Come back to me.
Homelessness. It is a harsh reality that young adults are facing all across this country, but there is help. Welcome from the Covenant House. We have Ellen, we have Felicia, and then we have Jasmine here to share her story. Hello. Thank you for coming on Chattin' with Chelsea. This is a topic that not too many people have touched personally or even really know about. So Jasmine, you're here to tell us what happened with you, because at one point in your life you were homeless, and this wasn't too long ago, I want to point out.
Right.
All right, so this was when you were coming from Arizona.
Yes.
What brought you here to Houston?
So Houston has been one of the things that is on my to-do list, a big dream, a big goal of mine. And so I initially turned that dream into a reality, and I came. I said, let's do it, so I'm here. So recently, it's been a journey just to get here. However, I'm making the best of it. And, you know, I'm proud of myself, and I just feel I'm doing really good.
It's good to see. I can tell you're doing really well. Yeah, so how did you end up homeless? After you came here following your dream, something happened to you.
Yes, I was robbed at gunpoint, and my car was taken from me. So getting my car was like 50% of, you know, the 100. I came with the car and I was like, okay, there's still more to do. However, this was just a big deal for me. And I was initially sleeping in my car. And when it was taken from me, it was like 10 steps backwards.
Wow.
And those are just the type of events that happen to anybody, but to our youth, that, you know, put them in these type of scenarios. So I didn't let that, you know, take too much toll on me. I knew there was some place, something else that can help me get back on my feet. And so I came across Covenant House, Texas, and, you know, we've been hand in hand ever since.
Wow. So you ladies have seen stories like this. What do you often see from young adults? You serve 18 to 24 years old. What do you typically see when it comes to people getting into these situations?
18 to 24-year-olds are adults legally, and yet many of them have not lived independently yet. And so a lot of young people come to us for a number of reasons. Some of them have aged out of foster care. Others have decided that home is not the safest place for them, and they've run away from any number of risks and dangers in the home. Others have been out on their own for a small period of time and run into loss of job, interrupted education, and some are fleeing human trafficking.
And what typically leads them to you?
The opportunity to have shelter, unconditional love, and hope. And so I think that's what led Jasmine to us.
Absolutely.
And hopefully that is immediately what they observe when they walk in our doors. And that starts with taking care of their basic needs, but moves on through a series, what we call a continuum of care that's comprehensively serving all of the things that an 18 to 24-year-old need to be successful independently after they leave us.
Now, Jasmine, did you feel the love right away, or did it take some time when you walked in the Covenant House?
I felt the love immediately just from our day services, being able to wash my clothes, take a shower, sit down and relax. You know, it's every step of the way you feel resource. You feel like somebody is here with you. Somebody is saying, listen, it's not over. We can help you get to where you want to go. Sometimes you may have the car without the apartment without the job, you know, and it takes a foundation to really have all of those things at the same time.
And those things that you mentioned, they sound so small, but when you don't have any of that, that makes a world of difference. So let's talk about the programs, especially the ones that you went through, Jasmine. Well, let's talk about those.
Sure, many of the kids come in through the shelter system, and again, sometimes they're released from foster care without anywhere to go. They don't have parents, they don't have any kind of stable support base financially, emotionally, in any way. And so they end up there, and quite frankly, we don't do a great job with kids that are in foster care all that time, and so they're not learning a lot of life skills. And we have to come in at Covenant House and provide them with those. And that's what they learn from the moment they walk in there. They're responsible, they have expectations, even though they welcome everyone. You know, there are rules, even though it's called low barrier, which that we meet them where they are. And so they're provided with medical services, mental health services, and again, workforce development so that they can go out immediately, either connect with school or have a part-time job so that they can save their money and move on to independent living, which is the primary goal.
So are they typically living in groups and working in groups?
They live in what we consider a permanent room in our campus.
Okay.
And so we have a brand new, thanks to, we'll get into Ellen's involvement with us, but our new 104,000 square foot campus allows young people to live with a roommate in an individual room. And so Jasmine and her peers have an opportunity to have an independent living space, but they also have a medical clinic right downstairs. And so they're able to access, through a partnership with Baylor College of Medicine, full health care, all of the things that our young people need to heal, but then also to grow and to be in a position where they are able to be employable, and where they can not only gain employment but retain employment and then move on to a lasting career. And that's the goal, is economic mobility. And once they've achieved that, then they are perfectly well suited and well prepared to live independently for the rest of their lives. The number one goal is to break chronic homelessness at its first occurrence.
Yes. Let me tell you, my 18 to 24 was a little all over the place. We all go through it. So yeah, like I said, some of us are just blessed to be able to have that support system, and you were blessed to find them as well. Now, how do you feel now? Do you feel like you could take on the world? You can live independently, do your thing?
Now it's all mine.
Okay.
And I've had this mindset from the beginning. It's just, there's pieces to the puzzle. And so now I'm an HCC Eagle. I am healed. I feel great. I am, you know, job searching as well as attracting opportunities.
Okay.
And, you know, just, I'm here. I'm here. And that's the best part about it.
What's one of the biggest things you had to learn while going through this program?
I learned timing.
Okay.
Timing is everything. And there's some things that I have to go get, and there's some things that come to me. And learning timing was one of the biggest pieces to the puzzle for me, because it just showed me that everything is available to me. However, you have to make sure it's structured. And going through structure within the Covenant House is elite, really. It's everywhere, you know. There's things that you have to know how to do before you transition. And there is about 4 times that you transition within Covenant House. So just having that structure, the things I may do in my room may be the things I do at work. You know, so
it translates.
Yes.
Yes. And so this program usually takes how long to go through? You were mentioning steps.
Young
levels.
people can be with us for up to about 18 months
Okay.
in all, across all of the programs.
And then Jasmine, how long did it take you to do this program?
5 months.
5 months.
Yes.
She's motivated. Okay, you're ready. You're ready to take on the world. I see it. Well, I cannot wait to see what you do next. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming in
you,
and sharing your
Chelsea.
story, helping people out as well. I got to ask, how do people get in touch with you guys if they need some help or know someone who needs help?
Absolutely. We are more than welcome to all time, talent, and treasure. And that's how we received Ellen Kokonos, our capital campaign consultant. She comes in as a volunteer and as a support to our capital campaign. And she has consulted, she's mentored to me personally, but also really to the Houston community in philanthropy. And so just like Ellen, you can engage with us in whatever way that you'd like.
Right. And if they are in an emergency situation, like they need help right away.
Yes. CovenantHouseTX.org.
All right. Thank you again so much. Thank you for what you
you.
all are doing as well. Thank you for sharing your story
Thank
and
you,
inspiring others. There is a way ahead.
Yes,
All right, guys. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after this. Yeah, this is
I've got the feeling. Come back to
Thank you again to the Covenant House and Jasmine and Martine for sharing their stories. If you or someone you know is dealing with domestic violence, you can reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number is right there on your screen, 1-800-799-SAFE. Meanwhile, please subscribe to our YouTube, Chattin' with Chelsea, and keep up with us on social at Chelsea Show Fox, and we'll see you on the next episode of Chattin' with Chelsea.